again, everybody. Welcome back to the workshop. We are approaching the end of the assembly portion for the Estes Longship, Destination Mars Longship, whatever they call this thing. So the next step will be attaching the shock cord to the body tube. Shock cord is very important. It's what keeps the nose cone and parachute attached to the body, and so that nothing, hopefully, will plummet back to the ground ballistically, or even not ballistically. It will just come down very slowly on the parachute. If any of you have built kits from Estes in the past, you will all know that they like using elastic or sometimes more or less rubber band shock cords. Different manufacturers use different things, and I've even seen people with an Estes kit, they will modify it to use something else. And that's just fine, as long as you're doing it safely. I have no problems with modifying any builds. So I got the shock cord mount folded out, and I like to crease the fold lines right away. It makes it a little bit easier. So this particular one does use what basically amounts to a rubber band. Nice and long shock cord, that's good. That was just the garage light going out again, no big deal. I'm going to get a little bit of my waxed paper over here. So this will require gluing. So and I've done this I don't know how many times, and I still look at everything. So a good generous smear of glue down there, and I'm gonna kind of spread it around to start it off. And take one end of the shock cord and lay it down. And fold the first section over. Fold the second section over. And all that extra glue will squeeze out. It's another phone call. I don't know who you are. So I'm going to hold this for a little bit until that glue starts to dry a little more. And also I'm kind of giving it a little bit of a curved shape as it dries. And then once this is ready to install into the tube, I'll be back. Okay, that's pretty much dry enough to handle. It's not completely dry. It won't completely dry until it's actually glued in place. So we'll need to take this off. And as far as the placement of the shock cord, I want to make sure that it's back far enough that the shoulder of the nose cone won't hit that, so I don't want the cord itself, the mount, to interfere with installing the nose cone. So I'll measure 2 inches back from the end of the mount, and I don't know if you can see this, the shoulder is just under, it's about 1.5 inches, so that'll be plenty of room if this goes back 2 inches. So I'm going to position this out here. How best for you guys to see this? And it doesn't, for this particular one, it doesn't particularly matter where inside the body tube the shock cord gets mounted. Just want to make sure I can fit in there. Yep, okay. Sometimes I've had smaller body tubes, rockets with smaller tubes. I don't necessarily, I wouldn't say I have fat fingers, but even these have not been able to fit putting those in. So I basically had to stick it in there as best I could and then kind of push at it with a dowel till it went in all the way. Kind of awkward. There, so that's in. I'm gonna hold that, press that in and hold it a little bit to give that glue a chance to take. That's pretty good. And then need some new towel. That one's full of glue. Imagine that. That was from yesterday. Okay, that's better. I'm going to take a look. And if I see any glue that's in the way, I think that looks pretty good. Okay. So I'll let that dry. In the meantime, I'll get the engine mount. This one's tricky. It's a 3-ring engine mount. It's caught. So I'm being very careful to not, trying not to get the engine, the shock cord, caught on anything before that glue dries. So, does this have any kind of orientation? It's not, oh no. Yeah, the launch, the engine hook is more or less in line with the launch lug. Oh, that slides in so nice. That's good. That's a good fit. So I'll need, obviously, the rocket, our engine mount tube, you remember from the first video, and the plastic tail cone, or is this called a fairing, I believe, in actual rockets? I don't really remember. And I'm going to test fit that, make sure it fits nicely and snug, but I'm not going to glue that. Hopefully, there. Not going to glue this into place just yet. That is a little tight. So I will take a little bit of sandpaper This will actually do two things. It'll loosen that connection just a little bit for now, but roughing up the plastic gives more places for. Let's switch over to my 220. That's not doing much. Sorry. It will give more places for the super glue later on to attach, and it actually gives a more secure bond. But always test fit before sanding or gluing, because you don't want to make it too loose. Okay, that's pretty good. And I'm not gluing this in place just yet. I want to paint this before I glue it on. So I will get my little stick. Clean that up a little bit. And I will need some lines of glue. It's telling me 3 inches, 1 inch, and 1/4 of an inch, and that's basically how far back these are going. So the forward ring will be at about 3 inches, about 1 inch, and about 1/4 of an inch. So how this will go is this goes in. Obviously it'll be glued, and then this goes in. So, and then when the center final ring goes in, this will go on. And then however far that goes, that's basically how far it'll be once it's finished. So gives me enough room. I can still manipulate, load and unload the engine. Obviously this won't move, but with this on the outside, it looks pretty cool. So I'm gonna do a little bit of marking here. So here's a good 3-inch mark. There's my 1-inch mark. And my 1/4 of an inch. And realistically, as long as the far forward ring is secure and the far rearward, that's a hard word to say fast, as long as this ring and this ring are secure, that will hold everything in place. This is just added insurance, keeping everything in line. So here we go. Put the first one in, and then, where'd I put it? Right there. And then put that in. And then, I'm gonna try to get another line in there for the middle ring. This is gonna be awkward. Actually, I might just do it like this. This won't be the best, but again, this doesn't have to be the strongest hold. Just enough to keep everything more or less in place. The major bonds will be the front end and the back end. And while I've got this out, I'm going to go ahead and do the same to the back ring so that I can get it glued before the others start to set. Okay. Now, working fairly quickly here. I'll push that in, get this. Push that in, and then back out. Okay. Easier said than done. I'm going to take a look around, make sure everything looks like it's glued nicely, and it is. Okay, so once again, we're letting glue dry. It's not any more exciting than watching paint dry, so I won't make you watch that. I'll see you again in the next one.